it's back to the winning. It's back to what winning really is. Winning doesn't owe you anything, but it means everything.
Welcome to Elevate Utah.
Utah's #1 growth podcast.
I'm Court Brady.
And I'm Carlos Souza. Today we have the myth, the man, the legend again. The first guest that we have twice.
Really?
That you're here for the second time. Noah Toly, Golden Door winner. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You are significantly more wealthy than last time we saw you, and you are already wealthy.
Yeah.
And I know that is going to piss you off if we jump right into talking about money.
Do it.
So when just tell us, what is a golden door? Someone's listening to this, doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, so a golden door is essentially, for me, it was pest control. There's a golden door in every industry, but for me, I sell pest control, and the standard is selling $650,000 in revenue, and you're in the top 0.01% in the industry, and it's hard. It's not easy. It's a very hard thing to do, and I think that's why no one does it, is because it's difficult on all levels possible, and kind of give like you guys. We were kind of talking about it before the podcast. I think like most average, like decent good reps will go out and sell about maybe 180, 200K, and that's like a good summer. And you can also almost, depending on your commission, make almost 6 figures just off of 200K in revenue. And so just to give that an idea, like that's a good rep, 200K, and 650K is,
For perspective's sake, 0.01% get Golden Door. Mm-hmm. Out of how many people are we talking about?
Yeah, the whole industry. So thousands.
Thousands and thousands. Are we saying like over 10,000 sales reps out there?
I mean, there's a lot of companies. Like
people are
knocking.
Aptiv alone.
Yeah.
That's one pest control company.
So
They're
we're talking
largest.
about
so
like
grit. I don't even know how
people
much
out of over 10,000 really get this.
And yeah, I mean, not even. I would even this year. Like this year, I think actually it's gonna decrease each year, the Golden Door. To be honest, because I don't know why. I think there's almost like a sense of entitlement. It's like people think winning owes them something when they do something. And so they think, oh, if I did a Golden Door, it's just going to be given to me. But I think there's going to be guys that maybe did a Golden Door last year and that this year that they didn't. So I don't know.
Are you going to do another one?
Whatever makes sense. We were talking about like, I mean,
is that the goal?
The goal would be what we were talking about, Canada, bringing the grit to Canada. That's like my #1 vision out of anything, and it only makes sense.
What does that mean, to bring the grit to Canada?
So like in like door-to-door pest control, you have like regions. So you have like a big region, then you have a divisional, and then you have like a team that you manage. And so that's kind of like the steps. I plan to start a country, not just like a region or a team. Like I plan to bring.
Let's go.
Yeah, like I don't like, and I hope Canadians listen to this, because like I plan to be like a Viking pillaging a village. Like I plan to like take over the whole door-to-door industry in Canada alone. There's like a couple companies there right now, and I don't know. Like my vision going forward is not even pest control. It's not even sales. I want to bring like a whole culture and brand to the country, especially Southern Alberta, where I'm from. It's like the Utah County of Canada. It's like the Walmart version of Utah. Everyone wants to be like Utah and Southern Alberta.
A little Cardston.
I know. And so I want to bring the grit, because I think the grit is not just sales. It's a brand. It's like a way of life. It's like a brotherhood or sisterhood for the girls. Like it is like when you're in, you're in. And like I want to bring that to Southern Alberta. I think it's gonna. There's so much I could say just on that. I could have a whole podcast on that, but we could talk about other things. But yeah,
let's start with, why did you want the Golden Door?
I want it to be great. Like I don't know. It's always kind of been. I don't know. I've never wanted to do something and not been the best. Even like as a missionary, we serve in the same mission. And I woke up every day not competing with others, but I just wanted to be the best. And so whether it's missionary work, like the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And I think, I don't know, I just like I always want to be a winner. Like I always, I don't know. I don't resonate, and it doesn't make sense when I meet people that don't want to be the best. But I'm glad that there is people like that, so I can be the best. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm glad there's diversity in humans. And I used to really be frustrated, and I used to be. I mean, Carlos.
We've had so many conversations about it.
I used to just not have any understanding or almost empathy for people that didn't want to be the best or want to be a winner or but I've grown to like appreciate those people because they actually help me a lot, and they help me kind of not be so psycho, kind of chill out a little bit.
Carlos asked the why. I'm curious on the how.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world did you do this?
Dude. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing is like people like will see like the result. Like everyone is jealous of the result, but no one is jealous of like what it took to do the result. And it's so interesting. Like we talk about golden doors and stories and people's circumstances, and like when your why is so deep, the how and the what are just irrelevant. And I learned that so fast this summer, and it hit me like a brick. And it's the way I now live my life. This summer changed like me completely, and how I view what I do and how I do it. But to answer your question, yeah, it was just the why was so deep. I mean, I was not in good circumstances. I wasn't in like this honey hole market that was untouched. No one knocked there. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I sold in Texas. I got moved to Cincinnati, brand new company in Cincinnati. We barely had logistics. We got there was like 2 technician vans. The manager of the branch hadn't even moved into the office. We had 2 golden doors on our team. We're booking 3 weeks in advance. It was just not ideal. Circumstances weren't ideal. So what do? We go to Omaha. We sell in Omaha, and then we get kicked out of Omaha because we produce too much revenue. Right before I'm about to hit my golden door, I get moved to Denver. Postseason Denver. Denver is one of the heaviest knocked markets for all door-to-door industry. Like, and I'm not just like, you feel it. It's not that buggy, and it's postseason. So it's like you are the 10th, 11th guy times 2. So 10 or 11 guys have been there in the start of the summer and have gone back second part of you know how that works. Like you go re-knock. I am now re-knocked twice in a market that is not ideal. And it was lonely, dude. It was like I could almost cry thinking about Denver alone. I was there 2 weeks all alone in a hotel room every night, all alone. And I just, when your why is so deep, the how and the why, I can't even like put my why into words. Like I can't give that to you. It was just, I had a lot of, it comes down to like my dreams, my people, and then my revenge. And those 3 things together were just, that was my why. So, yeah, I don't know.
Can you tell us about your dreams, your people, and your revenge?
Yeah. So my revenge is pretty, for me, my revenge, I feel, I'll start actually with my people. So the people around me, people that inspire me, like guys that I love, my family. I go into things with like a weird mentality. Like I go into things like, like my people, when I think of my people, I think of my family name, like my last name. And I'm like, oh no, like they're going to know who a Toly is, you know what I mean? And going back to now revenge, I keep so many receipts. It's almost a little like, I do have something wrong and I do have like some screws loose because I remember everything that has pissed me off. I remember everything. I remember things from the mission. I remember things from elementary. I remember things from middle school. I got cut. I could pull up my text messages. I got cut from my middle school basketball team in grades 6 and 7 for being too short. And I remember grade 6 when I got cut, I went to the bathroom. I ran out. I made it to the last trial. I ran out. I went and just cried in the bathroom. And I remember that was like the first time where I remember just being so fired up. And I was like, I am going to... Anyways, long story short, those things are the things that I pulled throughout the summer. As I remember, you know, so at the grid, I won what's called the Big Fish. So I got like it was a huge bonus, got a good bonus, and I was the top switchover rep to the grid this year. And yeah, I like literally remember we're sitting in the car. We're a week out before the summer. I'm sitting with Brock Grieve, who's the number, like in the top 5 of all time of selling pest control, with Zach Seeger, who just did the industry record last year. I'm with all the dogs, and they're all like saying, and I hope Zach Seeger listens to, I love Seeger, by the way, but we're all sitting in the car and they're all like, oh yeah, the Big Fish. No, you're going to win the Big Fish. Like, you're going to win that. Like, they're all like hyping me up. And I'm like, yeah, I know I am. Like, I was like really confident. And then Seeger, I remember that he paused before he said, oh yeah, you're going to win. He had a brief pause and it fired me up. I was like, why did you pause? You paused before you said I was going to do it. And I remember I was like, no. I hated that. And so like, it was just, yeah, it sounds crazy, but I remember, and I still remember those things. So that's like the revenge. I keep my revenge. And then my dreams, like I want to live a life that's free of mental fatigue of money. Like, I think there's like so much fatigue mentally when it comes to income and finance. And I don't want that anymore. Like, I want to be able to go eat food with a friend and buy their lunch. And not be like, oh, dude, I don't want to like go out to eat this meal. Because I've been there. We've all been there, like in college or high school, where we weren't making, and we're like, like I don't want to be like, I don't want to go out to eat because I literally have $30 in my checking account, you know. So I don't want to be there, and that's like the dreams aspect of things. But yeah, and I want to impact. It's the biggest thing in my dreams is I want to impact and I want to lead a lot of people, and that drives me more than like
what kind of impact?
Anything. I just want to like inspire. I want to like, I've always wanted to lead. I've just always craved that. I've always craved that. And it's funny we talk about this because this last summer I switched over like a month before the summer, 2 months. You know, I didn't have like this crazy downline that I was managing. It was about me, and it was about my why and what I needed to do. And now that I've done that, I want to keep progressing. And I think part of progression is leadership, but there's a loneliness in leadership. And yeah, we've talked about that too. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like talking a lot, but.
No, this is about you, man.
It's the point of the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Just to hear you talk.
It is true.
Tell us about the role of loneliness in high performance.
Yeah. Yeah, winning. I think I learned a lot about winning, and winning and leadership go together, and winning has a price, and leadership has a price, and it often comes with being misunderstood. It comes with a loneliness, a level of loneliness that you have to be willing to like take on, because you're going to be misunderstood. And I used to not like being misunderstood. Now I like crave it. Like I don't mind being a little bit misunderstood by people, because it just means that I'm wired a little bit off, and I like being a little off. Like, I don't know if that answers your question, but like the biggest things that I took away was Tim Grover. He has that book, Winning and Relentless. Those 2 books have changed everything for me. And Tim Grover, he talks about like winning, and he talks about the 13 principles of winning and what winning really is. And he talks about like winning makes you different, and different scares people. Like, it just scares people. People get a little bit frightened by different. They love what comes with difference. They love the Elon Musks. They love the Steve Jobs. They love like the Michael Jordans, the Kobes. But if they knew like what they experienced, they probably wouldn't love it.
Why don't they like it? What do you guys think? What's people's obsession? Because the different people are the famous people. So people are obsessed. They're so unique. Uh-huh. But if you're in their circle, like a prophet is always rejected and is never accepted in his own country. If they knew that person, they have such a hard time with their massive amounts of success and weirdness and differentness and quirks. And
that is cool, actually. That's a cool thing. I didn't think about that.
As you were talking, I wrote down, we need to get society to stop trying to tame people. You have these things in your mind that someone from the outside would say, bro, like, they're screwed loose. Like, we went and watched, it wasn't Chris Kyle, but it was Lone Survivor. And he talked about when he was in Iraq or Afghanistan, and he'd just been shot. Everyone else had also been shot, and he was the last guy. And he picked up this rock and threw it and said, if I can crawl to the rock, it's all I got to do. And if I get to the rock, I'll throw it again and I'll crawl. So he did this over and over and over again and crawled on his arms to a village. People found him, nurtured him, and he got out of there and survived. But there was a screw loose with this guy. Like, he had done something so intense for so long that he saw the world differently. When we say there's a screw loose, I think everyone that is pre-success and whatever they define sees the screw loose as something that they don't want, and so they try and fix all their loose screws inside of them, and then they live this normal life. Yeah. And they've tamed themselves and don't get what they actually want.
So true.
So true. When you asked the first question, can I pull something up here? Sure. It reminded me of, have you guys seen the letter that Phil Knight sent recently to the employees at Nike?
Recently?
Yeah, like a month or two ago. So Phil Knight winning letter.
I'm hyped to hear this.
It was amazing.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
Did you see that quick?
No.
So Phil Knight sent to all of the Nike employees, "Dear Nike family, as one athlete talking to another, I'm going to be honest. We need you. The world needs you now more than ever. It feels like winning is getting a losing reputation these days. It's time to change that." And then he goes on to talk about the Olympics.
That gives me chills.
But I love that, right? Because it's what you're talking about. To answer your question, Court, my answer is going to be probably a bit shallow, but it's everyone loved Elon Musk. You know, probably a lot of people that worked at Twitter loved Elon Musk before he became their boss, because then it just exposes all of your weaknesses when he's right next to you. Yeah. And no one likes to realize or hear or be told that their house stinks. So I think when you're next to greatness, your weaknesses are so exposed. There's like a spotlight on all of your weaknesses, and it is uncomfortable. It is scary. Yeah. If you feel like you're gonna lose everything that you hold on to, no one likes that. You know, when people were playing with Michael Jordan, it was that he was constantly keeping people accountable and calling them out. Probably people thinking I'm going to lose my job, they're going to trade me to another team. There's just a lot of fear that comes from having your weaknesses exposed when you're next to greatness. Yeah. So I think that is my answer to that.
I think there's a few people that see the world like you see it, though, Noah. And when they're around a Michael Jordan or an Elon, when you're in that car with those guys, you love the challenge. You love to be called out. You love to see the chinks in your armor so that you can go and double up the plating in that area of your life. Yeah.
No, it's so true. I love when people.
I feel like that's why we got so close in the mission, because nobody challenged me like you did.
Very misunderstood.
Yeah. And same for you. I remember this one night that Noah called me and he said, "Hey, you need to pray and ask God for a challenge." Do you remember that?
I probably did.
No one would have asked me to do that. So, again, I wanna hear your answer. So you are right. You are wired that way.
Yeah. And I want to be clear. Like, with being wired that way, it has a price. Like, and I don't think people wanna but it has a price, and it comes with, I could get emotional thinking about it, but it comes with a lot of heaviness. It comes with a weight, and it comes with loneliness. But you have to pick and choose your battles and that kind of thing. But to answer, I guess, to go off of your question, it's back to the winning. It's back to what winning really is. Winning doesn't owe you anything, but it means everything. And winning doesn't just mean, oh, I'm beating other people. Winning is an everyday thing. Winning just is everything. And I don't even know how to... I'm going to actually read the 13 principles of... I read these almost every day. These 13 principles is like how I view winning and what I think winning is. And so these are the 13. So winning makes you different, and different scares people. Winning wages war in the battlefield of your mind. Winning is the ultimate gamble on yourself. Winning isn't heartless, but you use your heart less. Winning belongs to them, and it's your job to take it. Winning wants all of you. There's no balance. Winning is selfish. Winning takes you through hell, and if you quit, that's where you'll stay. Winning is a test with no correct answers. Winning knows all your secrets, every secret. It knows all of them. Winning never lies. Winning is not a marathon. It's a sprint with no finish line. And like, winning is everything. And those 13 principles are just like things that I love. And I love Tim Grover, and I talked about him a lot this summer. And those 13 things, it's winning. It's winning. And so, yeah, it has a price. And I think all those people that you were mentioning, people that are misunderstood, I think they follow those 13 things pretty intensely. And I think there is room for balance in some aspects of your life, but when it comes to winning, it requires all of you. It does. And this is how I think, but anyone that wants to do something amazing or incredible, you're going to go to places that not a lot of people want to go to, and you're going to dip into some wells that aren't comfortable, really uncomfortable, but it just requires a little bit of imbalance. And the world, like we talked about, the world preaches on be balanced, be this, and control, and don't go off of instinct. Kids are born bad, taught to be good. And I don't mean bad as in like gnarly, like, oh, these kids are bad, but they're born bad with an instinct. Kids don't act off of thinking, they just do. And I think winning is acting off of instinct. It's not thinking about what you're going to do, you just do it. And one of my favorite things is, if it's hard, do it hard. And if it's easy, do it easy. Just get it done. And I think like the world right now, it's just literally at lunch with a friend, I was talking and I was telling her that like the world is finding so many excuses for everything. Like no matter what the circumstance, they just want a way out instead of a way in. And I think winning is the only way to win is through. And yeah, comes with a price, but I don't know.
I love that. Cord, I know that you've thought a lot about your question because we've had conversations about it. I'd love to hear what you think.
Oh, I agree with what you both said. You said people have their flaws shown. People are just a mirror. Like you're around somebody, and if they're the same as you, then you see yourself. And if they're different than you, then it makes you uncomfortable because you're seeing yourself as you could be if you would have done what they did. And you have no excuse to... You see people that are moved to 4 different cities in one summer and get a golden door. Or we had Chandler on last night where you see somebody that loses a spouse and they still go on to do unbelievable things. So it takes away all of your excuses. Mm-hmm. The price conversation of the price you pay is super interesting to me. And I think there's this desire to chill everyone out. Mm-hmm. But people don't realize the price of that. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the price of caging a bunch of lions? Mm-hmm. Like, they are not going to be able to, like, the cages are going to get ripped to shreds and they're going to kill each other. Yeah. Because there has to be this outlet. And the more we try and suppress whatever it is, whether it's winning in however somebody defines it, the worse off the world is going to be.
I agree.
I guess now a follow-up question from that. Just passion as you're talking about the price you pay. Mm-hmm. Can you dive in a little bit more to what that price is and the trade-offs that you make?
Mm-hmm. Like me specifically?
Yeah,
or just
the
like
intentional trade-offs that you make.
Mm-hmm.
We had a guest. We had a guest on the podcast that said there's no solutions, only trade-offs. What are kind of I'm going along with that question.
I guess if we use my summer, this last summer as an example, I put everything on the back burner. Everything. There was no. I didn't serve 2 masters. I served 1 master, and the master was getting the goal, and that meant that I lacked in some of my relationships. I remember, and this will sound crazy, I remember towards the end I got really, and this is also part of the story, I got really unhealthy. That's gonna sound crazy. I developed probably a little bit of an addiction to Adderall. I lost 25 pounds. I stopped eating. Gnarly stuff. And I have, and this is kind of crazy, I don't ever talk about this, but I have severe OCD. And sales is probably the worst thing you could do with severe OCD. And so I'm in all these circumstances and moving, and my OCD is triggered every time I move, and I move 4 times in a summer. So all of these things just heavy. So, but part of that, like the trade-off was everything. I traded off everything. Like to keep us, I traded off everything. I traded off relationships. I traded off, and it sounds gnarly, but it made, in the end, it all came together and it made sense. I didn't, but I was going to tell you a story about my mom, and this sounds gnarly because I got so unhealthy towards the end of summer. This is going to be really raw. I was really suicidal. Towards the end of the summer, I was in a really bad place, just alone in Denver. My mind is going crazy. I'm experiencing psychosis with the Adderall. It is just gnarly. Like I'm literally going crazy. And I remember my mom, and this sounds really gnarly, but I remember my mom called, and it was 2 weeks before I hit the goal. And my mom called, and she said she heard how distressed I was and how horrible condition I was. And I remember my mom said, maybe you should come home. Maybe you should, she loves me, so she thinks. And I stopped her and I said, and she wanted to see me. I don't see my family much because I'm from Canada. I live in the States. I see them once a year for 4 days, 5 days. It's not that hard, but my mom wanted to see me. And so she said, I really want to see you, like maybe you should. And I stopped her and I was shaking, crying. And I said, like, Mom, I literally, it's crazy. I just said, I want you to want me. I want you to want this goal more than I want you to see me. Like, I want you to want this more for me than your desire to see me as your son. Like, I just want you to want this. And that was, from there on, she respected that, and she gave me no excuses. Like, and that's a big thing on winning too, is it comes with trade-offs, but you also, when you're with the right people, they don't make excuses for you. My whole team at the Grit, not one person excused anything that I was going through. They supported me, they loved me, but never once did they say, dude, maybe a golden door is not for you. It was always, we're getting it done. No matter what it takes, you are going to get this done. And so that's when I know it's the right people. Even like Cincinnati, I moved to Cincinnati. First day in Cincinnati, sold in the South for the last 2 summers. I'm used to the South, went to Texas, easy transition, went to Cincinnati, boom, second day, one of my worst days ever. And I never sit on a curb, and it hit 9:30, it's dark. I sit in the curb and I call my mom, and I was like, there is no way. I was like, nope, there's no way I'm hitting my goal. I didn't even see it. I couldn't even fathom doing it. And my mom stopped me and she said, nope. You told me before the summer, you said that if you ever tried to get out of your goal, that you wanted me to say no. And she said, nope, we're not doing this. She said, figure it out. Find a way and figure it out. That's all I'm going to say. That was the conversation. She didn't, and that's, yeah. So I don't know. I went on a tangent with that, but I traded off everything to be frank. Traded off my health. I traded off. And I don't think everyone has to. Like, I don't think that has to be. For me, the way I live and the way I operate with my mind, with my health, it comes with a price of almost everything. And I remember driving in my car with one of my best friends, Tyson Fotheram, another Golden Door. And we're driving, and I said, dude, one of my favorite things is if it's easy, do it easy. And if it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done. And I said to him, I looked at him, and I said, brother, every day it's hard for me. I said, it's a hard thing for me every day, but I'm getting this thing done. And he was like, dope. He was like, so sick. We were like listening to Kanye, just like sitting there. It was rainy, got out in a rainy neighborhood, terrible. Just like, all right, we're doing this. And I just like, yeah, I love those memories, but it's like, yeah. So
I have a question for you, and I'm a little hesitant to ask, but it's coming from, I think I know the answer, but was it all worth it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was asked that yesterday with another friend at lunch. He said, dude, was getting this whole Golden Door, he was like, was it really worth it? Because you're 25 pounds less. You look like skin and bones. You're not even eating your meal with me right now. And I'm just like, well, I just was like, yeah, it was worth it because it wasn't the Golden Door. It wasn't. That's the thing about winning is when you win, it's a relief. Like true winners, when they win, it's a celebration, but you're like, I got my Golden Door and I was relieved. I laid on the cement for 20 minutes, just laid there. And I just laid there. I was like relieved. I wasn't like going to a party celebrating. I the next day I was like, Grit Canada, what do we have to do to get this done? I was shifting already. And so I think it's never the end result. Why I don't regret it and why I think it was worth it was because of everything that I became because of the summer. Holy. You don't become an insane, like you don't become a beast without like going through like some gnarly stuff. Yeah. It always is. It seems like it always is the most incredible people go through the hardest things. And it makes sense. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to say I've been through the hardest thing, but just that principle is just, it seems like it's forever principle, you know?
Something you said reminded me of, there's a show on Netflix, The Last Dance. Holy. I watch it at least once a year. And
right before I came into this podcast, I watched my favorite 1-minute clip from The Last Dance because I wanted to get in the right headspace for this podcast. But yeah, keep going. I just want to let you know. I love Michael Jordan more than anyone. Yeah.
Because somebody asked him, like, how was it winning your first championship? And then he said, I'm going to paraphrase it, but like nothing but relief. And similar to what you're saying. So I want to hear from you. Walk us through those first 5 minutes after you hit your goal.
This is going to sound gnarly too. So I got my last deal that made me a Golden Door. And they brought me a door. My friend, bless them, they came to Denver, brought me a big Golden Door, painted a door gold. And I got my deal that made me a Golden Door. My friend came out with a door, and he started to dap me up. And I said, wait 1 second. And I went and sold the next house after I hit the goal. Just the way I operate, it was so like, came with a door, and I was like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, and I just was like, 1 sec. He like started to hug me, and I was like, 1 sec. And I segued, and I went right to the next house, and then sold that house, and then sold them, and then I was like, all right, I'll go get the door. That's winning. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but that, right, like for me, that's winning. That's what winning is it's not like a, you know, it's a relief, but it's also like, you know, I've been doing it so consistently that anything that was out of my habitual, I was like, just, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
I freaking love that.
No one knows that too. No one knows that I did that.
Now the whole world will know.
The whole world. But like literally no one knows. But that's also part of winning is no one sees. No one knows what goes behind what winning. Like no one knows what's happening behind closed doors. No one does. But they see the end. They see the clout. They see the the money, they see the Porsche, you know, they see all that stuff. So,
bro, how do you define? I love the idea of winning. I love everything that you shared on it. I also have this perspective of we get to define what winning is for us individually, and the big mistakes that people make. Someone listens to this podcast and says, man, I want to do that. Like, how cool would that be if I could be like Noah? And then they go and do it because they thought it would be cool to be like you, instead of going and doing it because that's exactly what they wanted. I feel like is a massive mistake. So how do you define winning 5-10 years from now?
Well, for like my only definition of winning would be winning is everything. Like that would how I would say it. But I get to answer your question, like I don't know, like 5 to 10 years, like I want to be like, I still like have like a desire. Like I sound really gnarly, and like I actually am pretty gnarly. Like you've seen the places I've gone, but like 5 to 10 years, like I do want to have a family. Like I think that's winning. I think like being a good dad will be winning for me. I think being a good husband will be winning for me. I think being a good businessman will be winning for me. Being a good sales rep will be winning for me. Just being great in every aspect of your life. And when it comes to need for a little bit more balance, I'm going to be the best at balance. If I need to balance and I am at a place where imbalance isn't required as much, because I do believe that winning is imbalanced, but also winning can also be that approach where you're like, I want to win at being more balanced. So be the best at being balanced. Set time, do what you need to do to be a balanced person. But when it comes to like specific goals, you could be imbalanced at being balanced, you know? I don't know, but it's always a little bit imbalanced. Always. It always has a weird, and my favorite thing is this, interested people watch obsessed people change the world. That's like one of the craziest quotes. And I heard that, I was like, whoa. And it's true. Interested people just watch obsessed people change. There's always interest. You can't be interested, you have to be obsessed. And I think that's what I would say. Man, you guys are getting everything out of me. This is good. This is good. I've wanted to get this off. Like, you know, I love talking about this. So
as we get close to wrapping, I'm curious. Well, I have 2 questions. Carlos, if you have some.
I have one more question.
It's a money question, isn't it? Just kidding.
It's not, well, it might be. Your answer might be a money answer. But, Carlos, do you want to ask yours first, or you want me to go?
Mine is going to change subject a little bit. Is yours still on that?
Mine were going to be the conclusion questions.
Okay.
So you go.
I'm trying to formulate this question, though, for the last, I don't know, few minutes here. And last time we had you here, and the person who walked in here today were 2 different people. And I'm not talking just about the amount of money in your bank account. Mm-hmm. Your confidence, your aura, and I even get a little emotional, but like, I love to see what you've become more than what you've made, like in your bank account. So I don't know if I have a question with that, but I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you.
Maybe tell us who this person is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you said, I think I'm a total different person. This last 4.5 months that I did for this summer was more impactful than any point in my life of anything, because it required everything when I had nothing. Like I had nothing, and it required everything. And I don't know, I think for me, who I am is now like, there's more confidence. There's more. I still have issues. I still have personal issues. I still wake up every day with major anxiety right when I wake up. I still wake up, and a lot of days I don't really want to wake up. I wish I could just sleep for years sometimes, because it comes with whenever I wake up. So I still have challenges, but I've learned how to figure it out. I don't know like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's so simple, but I just learned how to figure it out despite everything. And who knows, I'm going to have breaking points, and everyone does. And I do. I still do, but I feel like I'm more equipped. I'm able to operate in chaos a little bit more. But before I wasn't operating as well in chaos, and now I'm like kind of turned more into a rock and like a river, just. But still, I still get tossed around sometimes. I'm still human. But yeah.
I love that. There's a show on Netflix you need to watch it's called The Perfect Chaos. It's about Neymar's life. It's kind of similar to what you're saying. Proud of you, brother.
Thank you, Brad.
Who's Neymar?
He's probably in the top 100 players of all time. Maybe he squeezed in there.
If the cameras were not on,
if he squeezed, Neymar squeezed
for tennis. Maybe. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it was soccer or something like that. Maybe ping pong. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. Wow. Editor, cut this part off.
I second what Carlos just said.
Yeah.
You came in for the first episode, and I was like, here's a pretty confident, outspoken kid that is high on aspiration, and I've seen it a lot and curious to see what it turns into. Literally had no prediction of like, I have no idea how successful this guy's going to be.
Yeah.
And you'd already had some success up to that point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just all first time. And you walked into this room today and going through this episode of, here's a guy who can go take over the world and lead the world.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Cool change. Last two questions for you. I wish we could have got deeper into leadership. I would have loved to talk more about the privilege and burden and all of that.
Yeah.
But two last questions. You get the chance to go back in time to the hotel room where you're at and talk to yourself. What do you tell yourself? And then second question, what if you can channel future Noah 12 months from now, what would he tell you today?
So first question, what would I tell that kid in the hotel room a month ago?
Yep.
Just in darkness. Well, I would tell him it will be worth it, and that like the bill of regret is so much heavier than the price of winning. And that's what I would tell him, is that if you just finish it, man, just please, you know? And it always, isn't this crazy? It's always hardest right before something great happens. It always is, you know? The miracle of the faith, the trial of your faith before the miracle. It literally is just, it's this principle. And that's what I would tell him, is that, dude, it's going to happen. You don't feel like it's going to happen, but I promise you it'll happen. And then your second question was, what would I tell myself? So say the second part again.
You're able to channel future Noah 12 months from now. What would he tell you right now?
That's a good question. What would future Noah tell Noah right now?
It's the most important question any of us could ever ask, I believe.
That is a really good question. I would say future Noah would, he would say get healthy, first of all. I think he would say your health is really important and you need to get right. Keep the screws loose, but there's certain things, you need. I really feel like he would be like, dude, I feel like he would sit me down and be like, winning is important, all this is important, but dude, you gotta have joy. And I think that's what he would tell me, is I lack a lot of joy. And I think he would be like, dude, find some ways to be a little bit more joyful, have some joy. And then I think he'd probably be mature and be like, give yourself some grace too, be a little bit, I think he'd be a lot kinder to me. It's funny that you asked me that, because the way I've been thinking is never future Noah asking me. I've always thought about me as a kid. What would I tell myself as a kid? But that question is like, oof, that's good. That's what I would say.
I have a follow-up question on
yes.
that then. Are you going to take future Noah's advice? Or are you going to brush it off and say...
I want to, I will, but I'll try. We talked earlier. I'm actually seeing a specialist in New York in December. I'm really, and this is another thing that I've been learning, being surrounded by such amazing people, is like Casey Baugh talks about it, like the biggest investment you can make is in yourself. A lot of people talk about investing in real estate and doing this and this, but they never invest in themselves. So I'm investing a lot right now, like a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy into like my health. And so yeah, I think I will. I think I'll try. I'll try. I'll probably fail a couple times. I've been failing for 24 years, but hopefully I can. But yeah, it's a good question. Got me thinking now.
I'm grateful for you, bro. And
Thank
you have
you.
a tribe. We're grateful you came and happy to support you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
That's
This
a
is
wrap.
dope. Thank you.
Thanks, Noah.
Of course.